All right, guys, today we're going to look at what ultimately causes the United States to enter into World War I. So a quick summary about World War I from a European general perspective. World War I is going to start July 28th, 1914, with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and it's going to go until November 11th, 1918. This is a massive scale warfare that hadn't been seen before for many, many reasons. Because of the Industrial Revolution, we have a lot of new technology and a lot of new weapons that are being used for the first time. So this is the first war we really see tanks being used. Machine guns are going to be into play. Poisonous gas and chemical warfare are going to be a brutal part of World War I. You have trenches where both sides are going to be like 100 yards apart. They're going to have trenches to kind of keep their line from one side to the other. In order to flesh it out, they use poisonous gas to get the soldiers to leave or kill them in the trenches. We see aircraft being used for the first time. It is brutal. Thousands are going to die from disease, from the actual battles, from the poisonous gas being used, and that's just talking about the soldiers, let alone the civilians. This war is not called World War I during the war. That name comes after. Initially, it was called the Great War or the War to End All Wars. People viewed it as so brutal that no one would want to fight another war after this one was done. So the idea was that humans would not go back to war after the Great War was done. If you haven't, I recommend watching War Horse. That really gives an idea, a really good perspective of what this war was like. It goes from a European perspective, but it does a really well job at seeing civilian and soldier life during that time. So the U.S. wanted to stay neutral during the war, especially at the beginning. We kind of implement this policy of isolationism, where we are going to say what's happening over there is their problem. We're going to focus on U.S. issues, U.S. policies, what is best for us, and not get involved in international affairs. So we stay isolated, but we're going to sell to both sides. We keep our neutrality, but our financial benefit by trading with both the Triple Entente, so France, Great Britain, and Russia, and the Triple Alliance, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire, and Germany. But we're going to have this problem where it's hard to sell to the Ottoman Empire, Austria-Hungary, and Germany because they are more landlocked. They're harder to get to. So our merchant ships are going to, whether intentionally or unintentionally, trade more with Great Britain because they're an island, they're easier to access. Germany, well, both sides in this war have navies, but Germany has this advanced submarine technology, and it's called U-boats, based off the German word for undersea boats. So we have Britain and Germany who are going to have this presence in the sea. The United States is selling a bit more heavily with Great Britain. Germany is going to start to police the waters using their submarines. They give very vocal warnings saying no military ships can come within a certain distance from where they're policing, and they're policing all along Europe front, trying to prevent anyone from coming in. And they are going to essentially try to limit the weapons and supplies that the Triple Entente is going to have access to. So they're going to say any ships bringing sales of weapons will be attacked and will be fair game. So they kind of shut down any military boats from coming, any straight up merchant ships from coming towards the Triple Entente as a way to kind of give the Germans an edge in the warfare. That brings us to the Lusitania in 1915. The Lusitania is a British steamship. So it has a bunch of it's a passenger liner, kind of a cruise ship. And so they are a civilian ship, not a war vessel. But the British government is going to secretly modify the Lusitania for warfare. They're going to arm it. They're going to have artillery on board. And the Germans are going to suspect this passenger liner is carrying weapons from U.S. merchants to the British government as a way to support them in the war. So under the disguise of a passenger liner, but carrying weapons for the British. The German submarines and U-boats are going to torpedo this ship, causing it to sink. Over 1,000 people are going to die. 1,195 people are going to die in the sinking of the Lusitania, including 123 Americans who were on board. This is going to cause a lot of outrage in kind of around the world, but the U.S. takes this as a personal affront. They see this as innocent civilians are getting killed. Americans who aren't even involved in the battles in the war is getting attacked as well. The Germans see it as justified because they made it clear what they would do if any ships carrying weapons for Britain came within a certain distance of the territory they're policing, and they followed through on what they said and the warnings that they gave. So the U.S. gets upset. Sentiment starts to shift from neutrality towards saying, we need to take a stand. We can't stand for this. But nothing really happens. And then in January of 1917, British intelligence is going to intercept what we call the Zimmermann telegram. This is a secret communication from German Foreign Affairs Office to the government of Mexico. It is proposing that there should be a secret military alliance between Germany and Mexico. If this happens, then Germany will have an ally over in the Western Hemisphere. The idea is, and the idea that gets proposed in this telegram, is that if the United States enters the war against Germany, Mexico, in their secret alliance, will then attack the United States. The idea is that the U.S. won't be able to focus on warfare and battles in Europe because they're going to be defending their own territory. In exchange for this alliance, Germany tells Mexico that they could recover Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico if they win that battle and that war. Mexico is not going to be inclined, especially because British codebreakers passed the information over to the United States in late February. British intelligence is hoping by giving this information to the U.S. government, it can sway their neutrality towards siding and entering into the war against Germany on the side of Great Britain. Beginning of 1917, Germany is dominating the war. The French are incredibly weak. Britain has had to pull out of mainland, and they're on the defensive. And Russia's having a lot of internal conflicts as well. So they're about to drop out of the fighting. So things are getting pretty desperate for the Triple Entente. So we have all these major events, and then we have propaganda. Propaganda is the use of images and stories to try to sway popular opinion to one thing or another. We're going to talk more about propaganda later, but propaganda campaign is going to be intense. You're going to see here we have the Germans. You can tell kind of by the helmet that was used in World War I. You have this brute, or the Germans, attacking innocent women, saying we should destroy this mad brute, aka Germany, defend our women. We have a victim of the Lusitania that is drowning an innocent woman and child, so trying to get people to enlist. The propaganda machine is going to really stir up sentiment to join the war, and through a combination of factors, through economic factors where we just need to kind of support our allies who we've been investing in, if we're going to get paid back, if we want to kind of defend humanity against attacks like the Lusitania, and also if we want to stand up for what's right for Americans, since we're getting that threat of Germany swaying Mexico to attack us. The U.S. feels like it's backed into a corner, and on April 6, 1917, the U.S. is going to declare war on the Triple Alliance and join the Triple Entente. This is very lucky for the Triple Entente at this time because the Triple Entente is really going down to Russia had to pull out. Russia is going to have a Russian Revolution, and a Bolshevik communist government is going to overthrow the monarchy, take over Russia, and withdraw in March of 1917. The U.S. is going to join in April. So we have these fresh troops who are really going to help sway the fighting towards the Triple Entente's favor.